Babylonian Mathematics, Quadratic Problems, Example 8.4. Solve for x if 2x squared minus 13x plus 6 is equal to 0. All right, in this example, my trinomial is already set equal to 0, so I don't have to move any terms around. But I do have a leading coefficient that's something other than a 1. So as you recall, hopefully from your beginning algebra work, you try to factor that out. But unfortunately, since 13 does not contain a factor of 2, I cannot factor out the 2. So I'm going to have to work with it, which means one of my binomials will have a 2x and the other one will have an x, because x times 2x would give me that 2x squared. Okay, all right, I now need to try an error. All right, I need to find two numbers that multiply to 6 um, that make these outers and inners. Let me write that in. That these outers and these inners, all right, you need to fill in these numbers here. Um, will add up to this negative 13. Now, since the 6 is positive, I know that the signs inside the binomials are going to be the same. And since these outers and these inners are adding up to a negative 13x, I know that these signs are both negative. So at least I can write that much in. So I'm just going to start guessing. There's only two pairs of numbers that multiply to 6. It's either 2 times 3 or 6 times 1. I'm going to try 2 times 3. Now, one thing I can do is I can note that the 2 cannot be put with the 2x, because if it were, then I could factor out a 2 from that first binomial, and since I can't factor out a 2 from the original trinomial, that means that my binomials cannot have two terms that share a common factor either. So that can help me eliminate some tries. All right, let's see what happens when I multiply these outers and these inners. The outers is giving me a negative 4x. The inners is giving me a negative 3x. That adds to a negative 7x. This is what we would call an error. That doesn't work because I want it to add up to a negative 13x. So I'm going to simply erase and try the other two numbers that multiply to 6. That was 6 and 1. And again, because I can't, these binomials cannot have a GCF, I know not to put the 6 with the 2x. So it would have to be this. So let's try it again. All right. This time is my outsides give me a 12x. My ins are negative 12x. My insides are going to give me a negative 1x. And that indeed adds up to a negative 13x. So good for us. We were able to factor that trinomial even though the leading coefficient was something other than a 1. And of course that always makes this a much more difficult problem. All right, from here on out it's really the same thing. I'm going to set each of these factors equal to 0 and then solve those secondary equations for x. So I have 2x minus 1 equal to 0, or x minus 6 equal to 0. Solving this first secondary equation for x, I'm going to add 1 to each side. So I have 2x equal to 1, and then I have to divide both sides by 2. So I have x equal to 1/2. So there's one solution. Or over here with x minus 6 equal to 0, I add 6 to both sides to get x equal to positive 6. And that is the second equation, second solution.